All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Connor on Chain. This video, honestly, as far as altcoins, anything like that, I don't really want to cover anything like that today because we really are just at a pivotal time, at least for the short term, for a short amount of time here, dealing with this election. And I'm going to kind of just give you guys a rundown of a couple things that I can see playing out, and kind of what I'm focused on and what I'm doing right now in the market. So as of now, Bitcoin is, starting to move up pretty heavy here, which I think this is just very early people trying to potentially price in Trump, as the winner. It's obviously, I think it may take another, at least probably 24 hours, I would say. If not, maybe a little longer until we actually know for a fact, who is going to be our, next 4-year president, right? But I still want to say that over the next 24 hours or so, until we know this is going to be very, very volatile. I think it's because we're going to start getting states, kind of finishing up. Certain states already have a few percent, of their ballots and stuff in, things like that. And it's just every single, state that's going to be coming in right now. News is going to be flooding one way, then the other way. Different news stations are going to be telling you different things. Like, oh, this looks good here. This one looks good for someone else. Like, the next 24 hours are going to be very volatile. I would not be aping into stuff just because it looks like we're going to go up. That is going to be the easiest way. You may get very humbled in a short span of time. So I want to give you guys an actual analysis of what I think price is going to be doing. Just not even in the short term, just for the next day, a couple of days, but just even over probably the rest of November. So my thought either way, though, I do firmly believe that this bull run, I think it's an 85% chance, no matter what, no matter which candidate, that we're going to be going a lot higher within the next 30 to 60 days. The other 15% of that is, for some reason, we do get, let's say if Kamala, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Kamala, if she gets in and we dump for some reason and we go very low, which again, that is to me a very low percentage of that happening. But regardless, for some reason, you can't price anything out of the equation in the crypto market. So bottom line of what I'm saying is a very low percent chance that for some reason we just do not kind of recover. We, maybe we trend down, we kind of bounce, but we start to set trend down and we do not actually make new highs, over the next 30 to 60 days, right? It's always a possibility, but for me, I think that probability is incredibly low. I even just said it'd be a 15% chance. In my personal opinion, I think it's way less than that. Because bottom line, I'm very technical based with how I look at stuff. And just based off the chart, the story that the chart is telling is that we finally broke out of these these lower lows, lower highs over here. And this was a key factor for me to, to really flip bullish on this high time frame structure. Breaking this previous higher low, this would have been a confirmed lower low if it broke down here. But it didn't. It held up here, higher than the previous wick, and it came up. So now we're technically in, a high time frame uptrend. And I believe that we are going to continue this high time frame uptrend regardless of who gets in and regardless of short-term price action. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Because I think worst case, if we do get Kamala in, for some reason, if we chop like crazy, I do not think we are going to go below probably 60K. I think if price can hold 60K region on a higher time frame, even if it takes, a week from now, right? And for some reason we're still going down, as long as price, in my eyes, can hold this structure and hold it, well above it, not even wick down, maybe tap it barely, but stay kind of above this general zone, that is still going to be high time frame bullish, because all of this movement here is going to just be internal structure for this next move, to actually go. Because like, let's say if this was like the price action and what it kind of looked like, let's make it white, right? Overall though, what is the structure still looking like? We have this higher high, a higher low, a higher high into another higher low. So this structure, whatever it does, is still not breaking this previous area, and then it's going to go into a higher high, and that is what I'm planning on. Worst case scenario that we see over the next 24 hours, even a week from now, I don't think we're going to go that low, because if we end up breaking 60K, even if we wick down for some reason and come back up and bounce, still we might be okay. But I think if we just for some reason do not hold that general area at 60K, and we start forming like a literal downtrend below it, that's going to be something I really question the rest of the cycle right now. But the reason why I'm not even bringing up Trump is because we all know if Trump wins, this is definitely going to probably rip. And I don't mean it's just going to God candle. Everyone is expecting that, and usually what everyone expects, it will do the opposite. So I think either way, we are going to get some sort of flush or manipulation very short term to basically fake out everyone that is, aping the Trump pump right now. Probably a little bit of a flush somewhere. Again, it could be anywhere from 67 again to even mid 60s would be something I can see happen before we legitimately resume an up only just bullish run from here. That is genuinely what I think will happen if Trump gets in. Minimal downside for a short span of time into then an all-time high within the next 60 days, 30 to 60 days. If Kamala gets in, we might see more of a downside move and something kind of like this play out where, it's not just like a little, push down into the next leg. Like it's going to be a more, more formed structure of a downside play into probably some sort of bounce and then into like a new all-time high. Either way, I think we're going to see it. But like I said, I think 60K, worst case scenario, if price gets this low, this is going to be a major level that I personally am watching, and I'm going to be really questioning if we get, well below this, or structure somehow just holds and continues to just trend below this and make a downtrend, which, again, to me, structurally, it does not look like it wants to do that from a high time frame. Something like this, to me, this actually would look still somewhat, normal. Because right now, if you guys have watched the channel, I've kind of had this parabola going for almost 2 months now, and it's followed this very well. And I said the other day that this is going to be the make or break area. If we push up here, if we do not see this break this level over the next 2 or 3 days, it's probably going to fall and chop a little bit. And like I said, maybe we see a little more downside then up. Or, again, maybe we just see a little bit downside and then up again. Like I said, I think it's either president. I think it's going to have a little bit of an impact either way. But, I've seen my timeline on Twitter. People are calling for friggin' like 40K Bitcoin again. It's like, I honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think if we get that low, like I said, I'd really question this entire cycle so far. But I think that is way too low. And usually, the reason why I say high time frame all the time is because when you're on a high time frame and you have structure like this, for prices to pull very weird moves, that don't really align with where the structure's headed, usually it takes a good span of time. Unless it's a literal black swan event, which, again, a lot of people might think maybe it is a black swan event for crypto. But like just imagine just heavy candles this low. Like to me, that just doesn't look natural. You know, like this looks like a natural uptrend being formed. Why? Because we formed multi-month downtrend, right? And then we finally flipped it and continued to reflip that, bullishness into, or reflip the bearishness into bullishness. I think if we're going to see downside, we're going to have to see the chart almost show that beforehand. Like, yes, there's going to be an impulse move, but again, for people to think an impulse move very short term is going to take us like, below where we were in fucking, August, I think they're just kind of nuts. I think, like I said, I think if we hit this general 60K range, that is where I genuinely think price worst case can come down to do whatever it's got to do, bounce down in this area, and it will still be very, very bullish. Again, a lot of people, they're going to see downside here. If they see it, they're going to be like, oh my god, this bull run's over, guys. Pack it up, sell your bags. But again, from a high time frame, like look at this kind of chart. It's still making higher highs, higher lows from the high time frame. It would still look good and be right on target, right? That is where like I said, as long as it holds some of the structure in this whole move, I think it'll still be bullish. There's a lot of people focused on smaller time frames, and if they see a break below this, they're like, yo, all right, we're going to 40K now. But it's like, no, bro. A lot of times when you have high time frames, you'll see a lot of previous higher low structures broken, and then it's gonna bounce, underneath a couple, and then it's gonna find structure somewhere else, below these. It's like you can see it in other places, right? We can just look over here. I'll flip it this way. Like let's just look at it here. We got a lower high here into a higher high, into another lower high, into a huge wick. Continued, like let's say this is like an uptrend, right? It's like you have all this internal structure within the high time frame trend, right? Even if I replay this, let's bring this back here. It's just like when you look at this technically, yes, structure is definitely going up. And again, we're flipping this, but just bear with me. Structure is obviously going up here, right? But look what happens inside of this structure. Like there's so many different things that can happen. You got basically a double bounce here with wicks. A lot of people probably think it's going to keep going lower, reverses. So I don't know. When it comes to structure, I think just everything looks good. Let me get rid of this too. But like I said, if we see price come back down, as long as it stays above around 60K, almost exactly, I think either way that is good. That's still going to be pretty bullish. So outside of that, that's kind of what I've been focusing on. This, like I said, also, it's not too much else I want to cover in this video. Most of the altcoins that, I'm holding and coins that I've been watching for the last month or two, I mentioned them in my previous videos on my channel. If you guys want to go, look at a lot of those, from meme coins, AI coins. I don't want to bring up all the same coins, and a lot of these videos I go more in depth with them already. Because right now I'm still just sitting on my hands and knees with, literally most of my holdings right now. Like a lot of people would consider it probably more high risk, right? But at the end of the day, I'm just betting on a bull run happening. I'm set in my conviction because I don't care short term what price action does when, again, I'm betting that at some point we're going to be at 88, 90K, maybe 100K at some point in the next 6 months, maybe even sooner than that, right? So whatever, short-term price action happens while Bitcoin is still at this general area, it's going to be way different than when Bitcoin is up here. No matter where you could have got in on coins down here, this is where the target is. So I'm basically in a lot of my conviction bets right now, full force, regardless of price action, whatever happens, I'm betting on this bull run really playing out. Again, call it super high risk, but I'm very much so exposed to the market right now. But it is what it is. I think it's just there's too many factors still to be bullish on versus bearish on this bull run still happening, especially when you got BlackRock, you got major institutions that have piled into Bitcoin in this entire 8-month range, right? They wouldn't be buying this stuff here and holding this price up if they didn't want this to go up at some point, right? So that's how I'm looking at it. But I mean, as of right now, though, we're back up to 71.3. So to me, that's people are trying to price in Trump right now. But bottom line, all you gotta do is draw a literal line on this, go to a daily or 4-hour time frame, and just see what happens. See if this literal parabola follows through and breaks all-time highs. Because at this point, it's getting into, like I said before, if this actually breaks somehow, I'll kind of be shocked. At least, before the election even finishes. But it's going to be make or break for price action here. Maybe, excuse me, my fault. Maybe we get price action, do something like this. Or like I said before, it goes down further. As long as it holds 60K, I totally still think we're very bullish high time frame. So even though, like I said, I drew that line there, you can kind of watch this as like a first line of support. If it breaks this, then just brace for potential downside over the next few days in this general range. That's it. Either way, I think it's still going to be really good for the market. Or maybe not short term, but if Trump gets in, I think we're just ripping instantly. If Kamala gets in, then maybe like I said, maybe we chop for a little bit down further before we really go into another high. But that is what I've been focusing on the last couple of days. And like I said, just holding steady with conviction plays at the moment. And we'll see what happens over the next 24, 48 hours. I don't think it's going to be today when we actually know everything. It might take another day, a couple days. But, I'll definitely be updating YouTube, all of you guys, when that time happens. I would not be surprised either, though, even though I'm not expecting it, to see God candles across the board. But, like I said, we'll see over the next few days what happens. And I'll keep you guys updated. I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.